Congratulations and welcome to the Nasdaq family.
Freshworks. It has put India and SaaS on the global map. It has IPO'd at the Nasdaq, popping over 20% to the listing price. What a dream run for Freshworks, which was founded back in 2010 in a tiny warehouse in an obscure suburb of Chennai. Joining me now is the founder and CEO, Girish, popularly called G by friends and family. G has had a dream run ensuring that Freshworks becomes the first SaaS startup from India to list at the Nasdaq. Incidentally, he is also a massive Rajnikant fan, making sure he always goes for the first day, first show of every Rajnikant movie. Girish, welcome to ET Now. It's your big, big day. Are you feeling like Rajnikant today, at least when it comes to the world of SaaS?
No, thanks, Nayantara, for having me. And it's a great day for all of Freshworks and for India SaaS. And like we all Rajni fans would say, there's only one superstar, and that is Rajnikant, and he always lives in our hearts. So we all feel like Rajnikant every day. Like that's what being a Rajnikant fan actually means. So I'm super happy and proud of what this means for Freshworks and what this means for India SaaS.
Girish, there's so much to celebrate when it comes to the story, your entrepreneurial journey, as well as the story of Freshworks. So let's get straight down to it. These days there's so much chatter about how all the founders of the unicorns back in India are from IIT and IIMs. You're not from there. But look what you have achieved, popping at a valuation of over $12.5 billion at Nasdaq to do that. How does that feel? Because you are an aberration in that sense. You're living what is now called the American dream. It's far more difficult to do that in India, or is it changing?
No, I think some people learn well in the classroom. I'm probably not that kind. Some people learn by doing stuff. And so my learning has all been learning by doing. So I think as long as you're learning and as long as you're winning, I guess both are okay.
I was asking you that you're living what they call, the American dream, right? Where everybody can have a chance to make it. Is that more difficult in India, or is it changing?
No, I think the story of Freshworks is probably the story of Gully Boy, right? So we clearly have shown that it's possible for every entrepreneur, no matter where they are in the world, to be able to believe that you can win. And so in that sense, I think starting from like a suburb in Chennai to truly building a business which has 52,000 plus customers in more than 120 countries and being able to list in Nasdaq today makes me super happy and proud, but also I'm sure gives a lot of confidence to all the startup founders out there that like apna time aayega, right? So they can also win.
Chalo, you like Rajnikant, and I can see you like Gully Boy as well. But Girish, moving on from that, SaaS is now being talked about a $1 trillion opportunity in India. There is a McKinsey and a SaaS Boomi report to that effect. What I wanted to ask you was, is this the new IT wave? We've started off maybe with BPOs. We've had the Wipros, the Infosys and the TCSs from India. Will Freshworks, etc., be part of the IT wave 2.0? Is that the future?
Absolutely, Nayantara. I think I'm a a big believer of this, not today, but this is what we have been all dreaming about for the last 5-6 years. So our dream is to have India as a product nation, and everything that we've been doing as part of SaaS Boomi or Product Nation and iSpirit, and also with the Together Fund, is around that core belief or core dream of seeing India as a product nation. I think SaaS is what IT services was to India 20 years ago or 25 years ago. So this is the biggest opportunity for startups to build global businesses from India, build SaaS startups. And we are already seeing that happening. Like there are so many Indian startups that are scaling nicely. There are investors who are now wanting to invest in B2B startups from India. So I think our moment has come. And I look at our opportunity at Freshworks to be the first SaaS startup to go public in the US as a Roger Bannister moment. And you know that Roger Bannister was the first athlete to run a mile in under 4 minutes. But the year he did it, there were 50 others who broke that record and actually ran the mile under 4 minutes. And that is the analogy here, where we are going to see a lot more Indian startups who are building global businesses go public, either in the US market or in India. And I think that's a good thing for India. So this is going to be India's next big opportunity.
You also said, at the ceremony at the Nasdaq that it's a new day zero for Freshworks. What's the next big milestone? What's going to be the next thing that can make you feel like you're winning your second Olympic gold medal? I'm using your analogy.
Yeah. So yes, I look at going public on Nasdaq as an Indian athlete winning a gold medal. But truly, there are two things, right? So we don't want to win a gold medal and go back home and sleep. We want to continue performing as a world champion or a world-class athlete and keep training, keep the discipline, and keep executing. So when I said it's day zero, we are going to celebrate hard today. But what the opportunity that lies in front of us in our journey as a public company, we are sitting on a massive market opportunity of more than $120 billion of TAM in 3 really large markets across customer service, employee engagement and ITSM, and sales and marketing automation. The ability for us to truly build an iconic global product company that came out of India. So that is the journey of the next decade. And that is what we are going to start tomorrow as a public company in terms of after the celebrations are over today. So we really want to be the company that can be the leader in helping businesses delight their customers and their employees.
You have always said employees come first, customers come second, and investors come third. As a public company, as a listed company at the Nasdaq, can you follow the same motto?
I think so, because I fundamentally believe happy employees create happy customers. And a very successful long-term company can only be built on the foundation of happy employees and happy customers. That is how you can generate long-term returns for shareholders. And I think that is the true cultural DNA of Freshworks. And that is why global investors have actually chosen to partner with us on this journey, because they believe that our culture of being employee first is helping Freshworks stand out in a crowded market and actually deliver and grow. There is no reason to change that. So we believe that our public shareholder partners are excited about the long-term potential of Freshworks because they truly believe that our employee-first culture is a differentiator for us.
There's a lot that's always spoken about, the happiness culture at Freshworks. I'll get to that in just a bit. One of your famous quotes is, you want every employee of Freshworks to have a BMW. I'm going to take a leaf from that and ask you, post the IPO, is that going to be possible? Have you minted many crorepatis and millionaires with this IPO?
Yeah, I think that is one of the personally fulfilling aspects of this IPO or today, where I look at it as me fulfilling my responsibilities as a CEO to all the early shareholders, both our VC investors who believed in the dream and journey and helped us with money, and our early employees who joined us when Freshworks was not big, and who joined us 10 years ago, 6 years ago, and they were giving in all of their efforts with the hope that we can build something big together. So I look at this IPO as a way for me to kind of deliver on the promise of that dream and generate meaningful returns for all of our shareholders. And from a number standpoint, I'm sure our team will share more, Nayantara, but I'm happy to tell you that with this IPO, we have created more than 500 crorepatis of Freshworks employees. I would also like to share that around 70 of those employees are under the age of 30. So these are all smart kids who passed out of college a few years ago and joined Freshworks and believed in our dream. And I truly think they all deserve it. Like it is, we have built Freshworks together. And I fundamentally believe that the rewards should be shared with the people who created the company and who created the wealth. And I'm like, today, if you look at it globally, 76% of our employee base actually own stock in Freshworks. And that number is 76 only because we hired a lot of people in the last few months. It was actually much higher, like it was around 90%. But since we have been on a hiring spree, I think that number dropped to 76%. So I'm sure they can buy a few BMWs.
That's serious amount of wealth generation. Look at the 500 crorepatis, and more than 80% of your employees are, of course, in India. I know we're running out of time, so I'm going to be very quick now. Girish, the other thing I wanted to get a word in on, and speaking of that happiness culture, there have been, 13 large M&As that Freshworks has done. Most of those target companies, the acquirers, the founders have stayed on. That usually doesn't happen. How did it happen in the case of Freshworks?
So, Nayantara, first, let me clarify that most of these acquisitions were not large acquisitions. They were smaller teams, and they didn't have a lot of revenue, but these were amazing founders, and they had small teams. The tech talent was good, and they had built good technology. So it was more like feature tuck-ins or good talent acquisition. So we didn't actually make a really large M&A transaction till now. But having said that, I think this is also an important milestone that the startup ecosystem should take note of, right? So many of those founders who joined Freshworks at that point of time, the M&A could have looked small, but we acquired those companies when Freshworks was valued at, say, 450 million or 700 million. So if you look at those founders today who are still holding on to Freshworks shares and at our current valuation levels, so they have made all the early employees, the employees who trusted those small startups, but probably they didn't have a big outcome then. By partnering with Freshworks and being on this journey, I'm super happy that we have been able to create like meaningful wealth for all of those folks who believed in startups, who believed in other, like the dream of working in a startup and actually hoping that it would create wealth. I think Freshworks has also, I'm happy that Freshworks had a chance to demonstrate that to those startups who at the time of acquisition was seen as a small acquisition, but at the time today, when you look at the wealth created for those employees in those startups, I'm super happy that we have been able to demonstrate that believing in a dream of a startup can be actually rewarding. You just have to be patient.
Girish, I know we're running out of time, but because we talked about wealth generation, will you ever do a dual listing in India?
So there are no immediate plans for that, but if there is something like that, Nayantara, I'll call you and give you an interview.
And just for our viewers back home, Girish, just taking up the Rajnikant moment again. Today, if you were to say that you're living the Rajnikant dream and borrow one of his dialogues, what would it be? Would you share it with us?
Sure. I think it's a song from the movie Padayappa, which actually the song goes like, Singa nadai potu sigarathil eru, sigarathai adaindal vaanathil eru. What it means is climb the peak majestically like a lion, but once you reach the peak, start climbing the skies. Like, don't go down. So that's I think how I feel today of how Rajnikant has guided us. His message to me is going to be that taking Freshworks public on Nasdaq is a peak that we have scaled, but then we're not going to go. We just want to start climbing the skies and continue our journey as a successful public company.
And with that, G, I know you have a very busy schedule. Thanks so much for giving us the time on yours and Freshworks' big day. Thank you.
No, thank you for the time and thank you for having me.